I played baseball in college. I went to Lander University, didn't have a Parks and Rec major. Got to the end of my sociology degree major at Lander, and it's like, what are you going to do? I was like, well, I don't know. So Greenwood Parks and Rec had an internship open, and I kind of eased in there, did an after-school program in one of their community centers. I think my tribal knowledge of a lot of items, Parks and Rec here in North Augusta is kind of a big operation. I got a lot of pride in North Augusta now, so it just means a lot to me. I love, hearing stories of folks that have come here. Now, granted, tourism in North Augusta is not Myrtle Beach. It's not Charleston. We don't have the roller coasters. We don't have folks that, the first shot from Fort Sumter was fired from type thing. So it's a little bit different flavor.
I'm Devyn Whitmire. People from South Carolina, like myself, are proud of their state and everything it has to offer. But even we don't know every nook and cranny. So we're traveling to the most charming places in the Palmetto State. Some of them and some of them even we have never heard of. From Discover South Carolina, it's the Palmetto Porch. Today, we're headed to the thriving city of North Augusta. Welcome to the porch.
Well, thank you for having me.
Can you please introduce yourself for the people?
Yeah, my name's Karl Waldhauer. Work with the city of North Augusta tourism department. So we're kind of a brand new effort in North Augusta to really just expose all the good things we have to folks around the state and eventually multiple states, especially Georgia. Parks and Recreation has been around forever. It's kind of typical small town in South Carolina. Start of 2024, we started Explore North Augusta. So kind of did a rebranding thing early 2024. And explore was a word that kept on coming up. Mayor really wanted folks to get out in North Augusta and explore it and kind of pick it apart and find all these cool little things that North Augusta has to offer. So I was with Parks and Recreation since 2003. So
wow.
I was, 20 years deep in Parks and Recreation and going to the same office and all that. And I'm kind of leading the charge. I've got a wonderful, wonderful staff. And man, I wouldn't trade my team for anything. I really wouldn't.
Where are we right now in this room? Can you explain?
Yeah. So we are in the WOW Club, which is an upstairs portion of SRP Park, home of the Augusta Green Jackets. This park opened in April of 2018. Augusta has enjoyed minor league baseball forever. And just the stars kind of aligned to the 2010 decade for an opportunity for professional baseball to come to North Augusta on the South Carolina side. The San Francisco Giants were the affiliate of the Green Jackets at the time all this was going through. And if you're familiar with the Giant Stadium, they have a river in right field. That's kind of their iconic piece. So here we are in SRP Park. Right field is the Savannah River. And the park is kind of modeled after the Giants now. Since then, the Atlanta Braves taken over as the affiliate here. And, 6 years later, it's going great. And it's kind of the cornerstone of Riverside Village where we're sitting.
Yeah. So obviously SRP Park is home to the Augusta Green Jackets, the minor league baseball team, but are there other events held here?
Oh, absolutely. A couple of weeks, we're having an Ironman here, which is a regional draw. It's going to have 2,500 athletes from all over the nation come through. They're going to start here and, head out the river and jump in and start swimming. And I really respect that. I'm definitely not participating in that, but I'm certainly helping that along.
How cold is that water going to be?
Right now, that Savannah River stays cold.
Yeah.
Because, geographically, it comes from the mountains of, South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina up there where it all comes together. And that river stays cold. I was in it a couple weeks ago watching some fireworks out here, and my temp gauge on my boat said it was about low 70s.
Yeah.
So, in August. So glad I'm not jumping in. I'll put it that way.
So you mentioned Riverside Village. How does all of this work together? Because that's a huge project in North Augusta, right?
No doubt. It is very different than anything that's ever happened in North Augusta.
How so? It's
a vision that, was kind of a foreign concept in North Augusta, but everybody's really latched onto it. And, man, it's grown. We got a Crown Plaza, which is a great, series of hotels. We got a great amphitheater, which put in a boat dock with help from the state, with DNR. And
so people can drive their boats up.
Absolutely.
To come and shop and eat and come to a baseball game.
Absolutely. That's the whole concept of it, and maybe somewhere in the future, somebody's going to take a little ferry boat idea and, dock it up there and kind of do the dinner cruise thing. There's all kind of potential we have going on.
Yeah.
You know.
So I want to talk a little bit about you. Are you originally from this area?
I'm not. I grew up in Beaufort, South Carolina.
You're from Beaufort.
I am. I'm a low country guy through and through.
So what brought you here?
My wife's from North Augusta.
Yeah.
When she graduated from Medical University of South Carolina, she was, like any other kid looking for a job, applying here and there. I remember she applied to Savannah, Charleston, and North Augusta, or Aiken County schools. And she's an occupational therapist in the schools. So that's how I ended up here.
What has become your happy place here?
Yeah, so as weird as it sounds, the workplace. I mean, I'm really thankful to have gotten into Parks and Rec and now tourism with North Augusta. I get to be around a bunch of cool folks and get to know the town. Otherwise, I say I like going out there. That's my capture of solitude and freedom, is going out in a boat. I mean, that's me. But it's my escape. But day to day, I am thankful that I'm an introvert by nature. But I do like, what I do, because it forces me to go and talk to people. Now I'm thankful that, it's pretty cool going into a Walmart or, ice cream shop or something and seeing kids come up to you and still say, man, you remember that team that I was on? You remember that time y'all held this event type thing? I was like, it kind of gives you a little bit of satisfaction with what you do.
So what initially attracted you to working in Parks and Recreation?
Yeah, so I played baseball in college. I went to Lander University, didn't have a Parks and Rec major. But I did have an attraction to it, just because I know it kind of established me as a person, growing up in the athletic world and all that. And so got to the end of my sociology degree major at Lander, and it's like, what are you going to do? I was like, well, I don't know. So Greenwood Parks and Rec had an internship open, and I kind of eased in there, did an after-school program in one of their community centers. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And of course, I got out of college and all that, and I started working with the state doing Department of Social Services. I did foster care when I got out.
Did you?
Because I wanted to work with kids. I was like, well, this after-school thing is kind of a blend of recreation, but it's more after-school. I was like, I can dig this. This is all right. I want to work with kids and do that. Did that for a couple of years, and man, I got to get out and do something positive with these kids. So I got into recreation. Believe it or not, my first job was a director in a small town about 30 miles west of here called Rennes, Georgia. Population of about 3,500 folks. And came in there and did recreation for them. And I was anything from going to city council meetings all the way down to weed eating fields. Right. I was kind of a one-man show. I mean, what do you expect that in a town,
Yeah.
A little over 3,000 folks. So got me exposed to that. And then, through my wife being here, she said, you ought to look at the Parks and Rec place here and all that. So had an opening and went at it. And here I'm, same entity working for them, over 20 years later.
Yeah. So say you wanted to do something positive with kids. Can you give us a story that you recall maybe early on in your career that you really felt like, man, I'm doing it?
I'll tell you about my first day working down there. This North Augusta, again, is a small town. So working there, everybody in North Augusta kind of knew everybody at the time. So, of course, the new face back there in the office was this elderly gentleman came up to the counter, just pointed at me and said, "Who are you?" Now, I went up and introduced myself to him. He's like, I'm tell you one thing. It's like, there's a couple of things that matter in this town. It's our sports, it's our high school, and church. That's what matters. I always think about that, guys, as I go through all this stuff and all this change. So it's really cool to see, just come full circle. All these kids that, 20 years later, they're the next generation. It makes me feel old, but it's pretty cool, seeing that they've either left for school or just always, stayed here. But there's a big cycle of folks that come back and decide just because of the charm North Augusta has to raise the family.
So tell us how you became the city's very first director of tourism.
Yeah, I think my tribal knowledge of a lot of items, Parks and Rec here in North Augusta is kind of a big operation. At the time, we had nearly, 30 full-time folks working for us. And it was a little bit segmented, into recreation, which is sports, traditional recreation stuff, parks. We had a tourism marketing coordinator. We've had a couple of them, and they were great folks, great to work with. But it was really more of an event planning type of position. But Mayor really wanted to make a concerted effort, like I mentioned earlier, and council was on board with it, and our administration was on board with it. And they said, well, let's just make a radical change and kind of really make a run at it.
Tell me about the community of North Augusta. Can you just describe the kind of people that you're going to meet if you come and visit?
Yeah, that's an evolving question. It's still young family, bedroom, community oriented. The good thing about North Augusta, we've got a lot of quaint shops, and our local folks run them. Our downtown district is starting to come alive quite a bit, but we've got a couple mainstays down there. We've got some small franchises that are moving in downtown. We've got a lot of exciting things coming in. A lot of folks have retired, moved in here, so we're really a hodgepodge of folks, anywhere from retirees down to folks just kind of breaking in on their own to traditional families. But I would say, for the most part, it still has that North Augusta feel that it did 25 years ago. It's a place you want to come back and raise your kids.
So tell us the moment or a moment where you felt it's all coming together.
As far as tourism?
Yeah.
So far, the moment has been second week of August, the Green Jackets had a homestand where we released our Explore North Augusta logo. We had a bunch of cool swag to pass out. And we did it during a home game, a Ronald Acuna bobblehead night that was here. So we had a good crowd. Mayor Williams addressed the crowd before the game. And we had kind of a mini drop-in reception for folks in the community. And, it was well attended. Folks were really curious what we were doing. And, a really proud moment for me. Like I say, our history is only 8 months old with this concentrated effort into it. But so far, that's been my moment. But I don't think that's going to be it, though. Yeah. I think we got a bunch of cool stuff ahead, and really looking forward to, what next year's event's going to be.
So we touched on this a little bit, but let's talk about the developments that led to this area around the river. What were some of the driving factors behind this revitalization?
So there's really not another city on the South Carolina side along the Savannah River. It's kind of hard to fathom, but, there's little pockets of here and there, but there's not too much along the river. And it kind of became the place to be. It still is the place to be because everybody kind of wants, that river feel for it. So folks are just really gravitated toward the natural asset, the water here. And along with that, the rooftops, retail follows rooftops. So, the more rooftops you had, the more, appealing North Augusta was for folks to come and, maybe try to start a mom and pop's business or a franchise to settle in, and it's kind of evolved from there.
So tell me about the amphitheater. It's called the Sharon Jones
It is.
Amphitheater,
Yeah.
Correct? What kind of events happen there? Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, we opened that facility in 2020. As you know, 2020 probably wasn't the best time. Obviously it wasn't planned, but wasn't the best timing to open a public facility made for crowds and all that. So we eventually eased into it in later of 2020 with, I don't know if you remember or not, you had to do pods for outdoor events. It would be like a table, and you bought a 6-pack of tickets of 6 people you felt were safe to sit with. And we did those and kind of spread them around the amphitheater. So that's how it opened. Mm-hmm. Good, bad, or indifferent, but we got it open. Driving and Crying was one of our first artists to play in there. Good Southern rock band, and the great folks in the state of South Carolina, afforded us some grants. Again, going back to our partnerships with the Green Jackets, folks had to walk 150 yards to go to the bathroom for the original amphitheater. So we built a restroom facility and a small dressing room there for our artists. So that amphitheater has been open, kind of like us. It's only been open for about 5 weeks now. We really want to take, our quality of life thing and all this, hospitality tax, accommodations tax, and all that, and really, try to take a little bit of that and really, put that into putting on good quality of life stuff for our folks, that either live here or, want to come in for a visit.
So who is Sharon Jones, for people who might not know?
Yeah, she was a citizen of North Augusta, went and did her time in New York, and but always come back here And even in her later years, before she passed away, I would see her in the activity center all the time, walking. She'd walk the Greenway Trail right here next to the river all the time, and just her spot. But just really proud of Sharon Jones and all of her accomplishments. And we figured it was a way just to, kind of highlight that. Such a great person. And of course, you want to showcase your local folks that have made it,
North Augusta is a small town, just like so many others in the South. What makes the resurgence of North Augusta personal for you?
I've been a part of it. Well, at least I feel like I've been a part of it. In North Augusta, you can be sitting somewhere and still have that feel. You can go sit in a Gary's Hamburgers. From what I understand, I think my wife told me it might have been an old Hardee's or an old restaurant of some sort. You still sit in there and, still feel like it's, 1985 in there. Some of our senior folks go in there on Saturday mornings and still talk about the high school football game the night before. Still has that feel to it. But sometimes I'll sit here and watch the Green Jackets play a baseball game, lean back in my chair and kind of look around being like, holy smokes, this is in North Augusta. It's kind of got a best of both worlds type thing going on there. So it means a lot to me because I know I embrace the tradition of it. I respect the tradition of it, even though I'm not from here.
Yeah. Well, I've really enjoyed hearing from you today and hearing your story and everything that's going on. I wonder if we can kind of close our time with any final thoughts, anything you want to leave us with about North Augusta or South Carolina?
Yeah, just that North Augusta is in South Carolina. Something I had to get used to, but I'm really proud of that. Being a low country guy, it's like I mentioned, went to college in the upstate, finally settled here in the middle, and just can't wait for our folks around South Carolina to come see all the quaint stuff that we have. And I'd recommend, come Riverside Village. You can throw your car in park on Friday, not have to crank it back up till Sunday, and come check out everything in Riverside Village and your short walk to downtown and see some of our local homegrown, shops and everything and restaurants and all that has to offer.
To learn more about this and all the towns we're featuring on the show, visit scpalmettoporch.com. The Palmetto Porch is produced by Discover South Carolina in partnership with Pod People. Special thanks to our production team at Pod People, Lauren Luco, Ben Sauls, Lauren Sauls, Grace Pina, and Kim Wong.